Good afternoon to all of our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We're happy to have all of you on today. Those who are listening on WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, and indeed those who are on the NDC Facebook page. Give you a warm Grenadian welcome today. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon in Grenada. And wish you were here. What can I say? But we're going to have quite an interesting program today. We're going to be chatting with our Minister of Foreign Affairs. Matter of fact, it was a pre-recorded interview, being elected as the deputy political leader of the NDC at its last convention. Then we'll be chatting with the PRO of the New York NDC Women's Group, Sherian Charlton, Charlton. We'll be chatting with her. Then we will go to Mr. Orlando Romain, who is the advisor, Ministry of Planning and Economy and Development, with responsibility for ICT, digital economy, and the creative economy. So, back with you in a moment. We'll be stepping on with these interviews very shortly. Good afternoon, Minister Andel. It's really a pleasure to have you on Heartbeat today. And we've had a rather successful convention recently of the National Democratic Congress. And notwithstanding the fact that you were out of state, handling matters of state outside of the country, you were nominated, seconded, and turned out victorious as the new deputy political leader of the party. First of all, I want to ask you about the fact that you being not even at the convention, you were able to be so victorious. What about it that everyone felt that you were or you are the person to be the deputy? Because there were two other persons vying for that position and they were at the convention, but yet still you were victorious. What's responsible for that?
Good afternoon, Terry. First of all, I'd like to greet you, greet all of the faithful listeners out there, and thank you for the opportunity to be on the Heartbeat. I think this is probably the first time that I have been with you on the Heartbeat since we have assumed office.
Yes, been a while.
So this is a special moment for me. And I don't really see it as a victory for Andel the person, but I see it as a victory for NDC as an organization, showcasing the talent we have within the party, the democracy and the maturity that have developed in the party over the past few years. And since 2014, we started the process of having people who are vying for office on the National Executive Council to go address the delegates on a zonal and even on a constituency basis to make their case. And that has been going extremely well. This year was no exception. And the delegates are always faced with a dilemma in terms of you can't elect everybody to one post, so you have to make a decision as to who you'd go with. And I don't really see it as Andel won something, but more of a case that the party has arrived at a stage where we can have these friendly, for want of a better word, contests, and whoever emerges the winner, in quotes, you move forward with the agenda of the party, and those who unfortunately did not get the nod from the delegates remain committed as ever to the work of the party.
Yes, indeed. That you presently hold the portfolio in government as Minister for Foreign Affairs, which is indeed a very busy office. Did you have the time to campaign as many others did throughout the constituencies?
Well, I was able to make, I think, 3 presentations, one before each of the zones. And as you may know, I've been an official member of the NDC since January 2013. I contested 2 national elections prior to 2022 on the NDC ticket. I once held the position of deputy party leader and served for over a year as the interim party leader. So I think that I know the party very well, and the members, the delegates, the supporters of the party, they know me very well. They know what I bring to the table, and I imagine that those were some of the things that stood me in good stead at the last convention, in spite of my physical absence.
Were you at any point in time worried that maybe your absence may have probably swayed some delegates away from voting for you?
Terry, the thing about it is that I am confident that even if I did not get the nod from the delegates, that whoever got it would be just as good a fit for the position. So I never was jittery, I was never nervous, I was never anxious, because to me it is a question of service to the party and ultimately the country. So this is not about a personal victory for Andel, but a means of being able to serve the party at that level, to give the necessary support to the political leader, to the National Executive Council, to work with the General Secretary, to work with the different committees of the party, to help to address some of the deficiencies that we have currently. And I'm confident that even those who may have contested that position or any other position will be there, shoulders to the wheel, boots on the ground, as Stephen likes to say, to ensure that the work of the party gets done, and gets done in an effective manner.
All right. Now that you are deputy political leader, are there any, let's say, new agendas that you may wish to put forward relative to the workings of the party, and what are some of your plans for the future?
Good. One of the things I would really like to do is to work with the General Secretary, Brother Larry Barry, and his team of Assistant General Secretaries to pump some new life into the National Democratic Youth Movement, the youth wing of our party, as well as the women's arm of our party. The women's arm has started to show signs of life. Last night I attended a beautiful event commemorating International Women's Day in Granville, and it was fantastic, Terry, and I urge them to replicate that forum throughout the length and breadth of the country.
Wow.
This was something that is not just for NDC women, but for women across Grenada, and I dare say for men also. So I want to pitch my lot with the women to ensure that we have a vibrant and mass women's organization.
Right.
We have to get our youth involved at the policy making level of politics and in government, and I'm quite prepared, willing and able to work with them, to work with the GS, to ensure that we get these organs pumping vigorously to accomplish the goals of the party.
Now, it is said that if you want something done in life, give it to a busy person. How do you personally analyze that statement?
That is very true, because when your time is limited, you are forced to be organized. And not just to be organized personally, but to ensure that you have a proper team in place. Because if you ever make the mistake of believing that you're bright enough or talented enough to do it all by yourself, that is a recipe for failure. So what I have started to do is to put a team in place at the constituency level. I have at the ministry level very good professional people, excellent PS and staff. And it is a question of building the right relationships with them, working out. You have the you're part of the policy making
arm of the party.
Of the party or the government. But in terms of execution, you need to ensure that you have a cadre of well-trained people who have bought into your vision to ensure that things get executed in a timely and proper manner. So I'm quite confident that in spite of the portfolio of foreign affairs, trade and export development, and being the MP for St. Patrick West, that the team that is coalescing around me is quite capable of working together to bring about the transformation that we need.
Great. Well, that is really fantastic indeed. Well, I want to thank you sincerely for being part of the Heartbeat today. I don't know if you have any closing remarks at this time, but let me thank you for being on Heartbeat, and the last word is to you.
Thank you, Terry, for having me, and I would also like to thank the members of the party who reposed their trust and confidence in me to elect me to the position of Deputy Party Leader. I pledge to work together with you to ensure that we take the National Democratic Congress to a different level. One of the things I want to engage in is public education, and as a teacher, I won't say a former teacher because I don't think that ever gets out of you. We have to ensure that our people, not just NDC members but Grenadians as a whole, understand the basic functioning of government. Because in my short term in government, I have come to realize that many people sometimes confuse the roles and the functions of a member of parliament and those of a government minister. Sometimes they think that you have powers that you don't. So one of the things I'd advocate strongly for is that we go out immediately on a massive, structured public education campaign so that our people can participate more effectively in the governance of our country. So thank you for having me. Thank you to everyone who put their trust and their confidence in me. And I'm quite confident that together we will bring about a transformation that will move Grenada forward.
Great. Well, thank you again so very much, Deputy Political Leader and Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development. It was great having you on Heartbeat today, and good luck with all your endeavors.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you to the listeners and viewers.
Thank you. Catch up. Well, welcome back to all those of you who listened to this interview, and to let you know that it was a pre-recorded interview held with Minister Joseph Andel, who is now the Deputy Political Leader of the National Democratic Congress. This was held on Friday. So, at this point, we will now advance to Mr. Orlando Romaine. He has a early engagement, so Sherian Charlton, the PRO of the NDC New York chapter, she has kindly deferred to the PRO in Grenada. So let me introduce to you the PRO of the National Democratic Congress Party, newly re-elected, unopposed PRO, Mr. Orlando Romaine, and he's also the advisor in the Ministry of Planning, Economy, Development, with responsibility for ICT, the digital economy, and of course the creative arts and the creative economy. So welcome to Heartbeat once again, Mr. Romaine. It's a pleasure to have you on again on the Heartbeat.
Well, thank you, Terry. Thank you, Terry, and good afternoon to all our listeners on WeFM, Vibes FM, online. A pleasant good afternoon.
Great. Well, I saw an ad, a flyer earlier on this week, which says 100% duty-free concessions for individuals who are going to be engaged in the creative economy, which, as you have been saying, it is a new pillar of the economy. Tell us something about that flyer and how can, creative individuals in Grenada take advantage of this opportunity.
Sure, certainly. Terry, so as you know, since our election campaign, we've been advocating the need to diversify our economy. We identify the creative industry as one such sector that can allow that level of diversification, particularly along the lines of job creation and foreign export earnings. And we're a party that, once we campaign on something, we will and we do deliver it. So the launch of the Office of Creative Affairs, which is the official administrative arm for the creative industries in Grenada, happened sometime last year. And one of our first initiatives was to identify some incentives, fiscal incentives that can really promote and stimulate activity within the sector. And so, as announced in our budget, the government took the decision to allow 100% duty-free concession on CET and VAT for creative practitioners, registered creative practitioners. Now, this, Terry, we believe will go a long way in allowing our creative practitioners to become more competitive. They will certainly have the ability to now acquire more tools and equipment to improve and upgrade the level of products and services that they provide. And that could augur well in terms of revenue generation, in terms of their potential to now hire new persons within their organizations, and certainly in terms of our ability to export those services to an international market. So this is just a first step. We have multiple things in store. But again, the concessions is available to registered creative practitioners, businesses, organizations, and the community organizations who focus on training and education. By registered, you mean you have to register with the Office of Creative Affairs. And the registration is twofold. We want to ensure that we can document and log all our creative practitioners, and also have a system or structure where we can communicate various opportunities we may have, funding opportunities, education opportunities, and really keep a very intimate connection with the creative community. So that registry is going to pose a very important role in terms of data capture, being able to analyze the activities of the sector, but also being able to deliver services to the creative practitioners as we go along building out the sector.
All right. Well, this is only 8.5, 9 months into the life of this government, and this new ministry has now been created. What were some of the challenges that were faced in really getting this new ministry off the ground?
Well, the government is a young government, and I would say we certainly had a bit of ups and downs in terms of the efficiency of the public service in getting things done. But I think the will and determination of our government were go-getters. We normally achieve things when we set out our minds to do it. So I don't think it was a huge hurdle. The pace in which it happened could have been sooner. I know we did promise that the concessions would be launched on the 1st of February, but we had some delays simply because we want to make sure that the mechanisms were in place for the smooth administration of that particular incentive. So we're here now, the office is up, and we are staffing up, and we're getting ready to really be able to provide the level of service and support we believe that this sector needs. And the sector is nothing new. The creative industries has been around for some time, but I think there hasn't been a very strategic approach towards its development. And as a government, we see ourselves as enablers and facilitators. So designing and creating the right enabling environment is our prime mandate, allowing the private sector to actually do the work of increasing activity and revenue.
Well, I seem to recall sometime around March last year. In 22 last year, just before the elections, you were on Heartbeat chatting about the creative industry. And
I was, yes.
Some rather interesting statements were made. It sounded kind of prophetic. And I want to ask our technical people if they can just pull this up quickly and just remind you of that interview. And, of course, remind the listeners and viewers. Guys, do we have that clip there? Okay, so take a look at this. This little country really needs a shot in the arm to take off once again.
Yeah. I mean, out-of-the-box thinking is required.
Yep. Creativity.
We are not in regular times. It's not business as usual. And so we can't sit back and depend on the traditional industries only. We have to enhance them. Tourism, agriculture, CBI, which is one. We have to enhance them and have them perform better. But we also have to introduce new sectors, new economies to support already existing sectors. And as I mentioned, creativity, and I'll add that technology is also one of them too, because technology is driving right now the creative process. A lot of art is being done digitally.
Yeah.
There's this new thing called NFTs, which is something that is new, something that's going to be a mainstay in terms of how creatives monetize the intellectual property that they create. All right, and so we need to expose our people. First of all, the government needs to understand what it is.
Well,
I don't
first
know.
and foremost.
First and foremost, all right. So the research needs to happen. There's research from a regional level, but we need more local research. All right. Once we establish that baseline research, develop the right policies, programs to support the industry. And the NDC is when I say committed, I mean committed.
Oh, that's
committed
great.
to doing that. It's part of our plans. We're going to roll out more information about it soon. And we're going to show Grenadians how we can create jobs, quality jobs for them through the creative industry.
That's very interesting indeed, and I think it has great potential for development. AI, it's a big thing now in the world, artificial intelligence. Can that link into the creative economy?
They're already linked. They're already linked. There's this thing called, people create songs, audio, replicate voices based on artificial intelligence. So it is a driving part of the creative economy. Technology, as I mentioned, is a driving part of the creative economy. A lot of films right now are being made not on set, but in green screen rooms. All right, using VFX. All right, and virtualization. So you would find that more and more as technology develops, creatives are starting to use technology as their main tool for developing creative outputs. Film, animation, artificial intelligence, all these things would come to play, and you would find over time that the industry will be transformed significantly. Blockchain right now is playing a big role in the sale and distribution of creative art. As I said, NFTs are here, and it's only going to get bigger.
Would you consider a contract position to advise the present minister responsible for science and technology where the creative economy is concerned?
I would consider a contract to advise the incoming government on that.
But we have to get out of the hole now.
Yeah, but I think I can anticipate a ringing of a bell soon.
Now, school children coming in.
Yeah, so but no. All joke aside, I think I know some work has been done, but again, with many things in Grenada, it's a lot of lip service. A lot of lip service. And I think we need to move to the point of actually implementing some of these things. If we really care about our people and want to create opportunities for them, why aren't we picking these low-hanging fruits? And as I said, the creative industry, the barriers of entry is very low. It is not capital intensive. All right? Why aren't we creating the environment? Why aren't we incentivizing? Why aren't we training our people to occupy jobs? And the jobs that they will be occupying is jobs locally, regionally, and internationally with ease.
Yep.
With ease.
No harm or cost.
All right. They can work from their home. They can work abroad, and the money comes back. And that's not just local dollar circulating within Grenada. That's foreign investment coming in. All right. Yep. So it's in my opinion, it's a no-brainer, and it baffles me to understand why we haven't taken more aggressive approaches to developing such sector as the creative economy.
Well, it's no different to the promise that we will have a science and technology park 22 years ago. We're still waiting on it.
We're still waiting on that. And
that at the time was a great opportunity for young people to really explore their craft.
And I would say, the wait is over.
Yeah.
The wait is over. It's time, Terry. Time to do what?
Yeah.
Move forward.
Well, Orlando Remain, how do you feel about this prophetic statement that was made on this interview? As a matter of fact, our record shows.
What I would say is
this was the 27th of March last year, prior to the general elections, and now you have delivered. Promise made, promise kept, it would seem.
Promise made, promise kept. That's the mantra of our party, our government.
Wow. Rather interesting indeed. And I want to extend my personal thanks to the IT crew here who were able to swiftly pull it together and so forth, and to share and to remind you and of course to remind our listeners and viewers of what was discussed at that point in time. March 27th, 2022. We now gone past the election, and we're in 23. So how do you analyze what was said then and what is happening now, or what has been accomplished now?
Yeah. I mean, well, back then, I think the intent was clear. I saw opportunity, government saw opportunity, our party saw opportunity to, again, as I said, diversify our sector, particularly looking at areas for new foreign exchange earnings. We put it into the air, we put it into the universe. We won the election, and we're now delivering on those initiatives that we outlined. We really are optimistic about the potential of the sector. Another big thing we're actually working on now, and I'll probably spill the beans here, is our first annual conference and symposium. The creative economy is something that a lot of persons are still relatively new to in terms of its overarching overarching concept. And so we want to ensure that all the relevant stakeholders who have to interact with this sector understand what it is, understand their role in it, and see the various opportunities that they can leverage. And so we're going to have this conference on the 26th to the 28th of April, bringing in international speakers from across the world and the region to discuss how the creative economy and the creative industries can be leveraged for the social and economic transformation of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. It's going to be a 3-day event. It's going to be very immersive. And again, it's for our creative industry practitioners, which is the actual persons who produce creative goods and services. It's for our bankers, so that they can understand their role in supporting the creative industries. It's for lawyers, because they play a very critical role in terms of intellectual property. It's for educators and policymakers. It's for the general public. All right, it's going to be an immersive 3-day event. And from that event, we will have launched a few other initiatives during that event, one of them being our business development fund for the creative sector. So we are moving ahead with full steam, Terry. The commitment we made in March last year is really just a continuation of what we're doing now. We will see the creative economy become one of the most vibrant sectors here in Grenada and throughout the region. I believe also there's a lot of opportunity for regional integration in the sector, and it's something we have initiated conversation with several countries about how we can integrate and have a more harmonized creative space so that goods and services in the creative sector can move freely amongst our regional brothers and sisters.
Great. That's fantastic, because really the creative economy, as you had alluded to earlier on, really touches the lives of just about every Grenadian. Because maybe I'll give you that opportunity to just, make it clear to even the vendor on the street as to how they can now benefit from the creative economy.
Correct. And the beautiful thing about this sector is it really has some far-reaching implications, because unlike, let's say, manufacturing, unlike tourism, unlike agriculture, the barriers to entry to the sector is considered relatively low. And so anybody, regardless of their socioeconomic conditions, can participate in the sector. Regardless of your education background, most people have ideas, they have creativity. But the question is, how do we leverage that, package it, and of course, export it? So we believe that this sector can touch almost every single demographic of our society. And it's not just something for the young people only. I always advocate that, when someone retires, they retire with experiences, with knowledge, with stories. These can be packaged, these can be promoted and distributed, and those can form actual revenue sources for our citizens. So we want to encourage everybody who has an interest in the sector to register with the Office of Creative Affairs. It's on our website. The online form is on our website, www.creativeaffairs.gd. And you will hear more from us in the coming weeks. Our social media handles are also on our website. You can check out what's going on there. But we really want to be able to pull the sector together and come up with some harmonized approaches to developing the sector so that it profits and benefits Grenadians, every single Grenadian.
Right. Now, for those who are not on social media and so forth, of course, there will be ads informing them on radio and other means as to how
Correct.
they can take advantage of this opportunity.
Correct. Once we launch the advertising for the symposium, it's going to be on all channels. And we're going to have a community out. As a matter of fact, we have a town hall coming up on Wednesday, I believe. We will have a booth there at the town hall to answer questions, to register persons for the creative affairs, and to just generally give information about the creative sector and how persons can get involved. So I'm encouraging everybody to come out to this town hall. It's Wednesday at the Wester Hall Secondary School, starting at, I think it's 6 p.m.
Yeah, indeed. This is a good opportunity, of course, for us to remind all Grenadians from every walk of life to participate in this national town hall meeting this Wednesday coming, 6 o'clock at the Wester Hall Secondary School. So thanks for bringing this up, Orlando. So at this particular town hall, if practitioners wish to come and register, you're saying that there will be a desk or a booth there where they can do this?
Yes, there will be an information booth and a registration booth. So we'll have persons there with their tablets and so forth, capturing people's information, and then doing some follow-ups once that basic information is captured. We'll also have pamphlets and brochures to kind of explain to persons who probably may not be directly involved but have an interest what the creative sector is, what areas they can look to get involved in. And depending on the pace at which we get a few things organized, we may be able to launch a few online scholarships at that event. But we'll see how that goes. But we have quite a few things in store for improving the capacity of our local creative practitioners.
Okay. And I take it, of course, that registration is free to interested persons?
Absolutely free. Yes, absolutely free. Registration really just officiates you as a bona fide creative and allows you access to, well, not access exclusively, but access to information about training opportunities, information about funding opportunities, information about events we're having. It really just keeps you in contact with us and in contact with the wider creative community.
Mm-hmm. And how can Grenadians in the diaspora take advantage of this? Same manner, they go online?
They can go online and register also. So the diaspora is doing some amazing work in the creative field. We have lots of prominent members of the diaspora in some of the bigger creative industries like Disney, Apple, Netflix, and so our approach is to see how we can leverage those connections to, of course, strengthen the work that we're doing down here. So we do have a lot of plans for integrating the diaspora into this. They will be certainly part of the developmental process. As a matter of fact, we've identified several of them who will be coming back home in April for that symposium to share their experiences, share their knowledge, and to help support the development of the sector.
Mm-hmm. And of course, tell us about Mr. Ramirez, Grenadian artist who has made it big out in the United States and maybe heading to Hollywood. You want to just let us know a little bit
about
it?
Let me just firstly congratulate Jefferson. I think Jefferson is is a rising star in Grenada. Certainly has gone beyond what a lot of persons have achieved from a local level. He's now on American Idol, and it's, as everybody knows, it's one of the bigger talent search platforms. So we're quite excited about that. It really speaks to the opportunities that's available out there if people position themselves right, and of course, if their support is there. So we plan to work with Jefferson and all other creatives, particularly in the music sector, because that's one of the biggest sectors within the Caribbean, to see how we can have more successes like that. So again, congratulations to Jefferson. We wish him all the best in his endeavors. And we are here to work and support you in your activities.
Great, fantastic. Well, I know you have to rush off, but before you do, I'd like to invite you to have your final words before you depart.
Sure, Terry. Again, thank you for having me on the show. As I mentioned, the creative industry is one that has tremendous opportunities, particularly in terms of job creation and revenue generation. We believe that our people are in the right position. We are African-based primarily, but influenced by French, British, Spanish cultures. And so we have the ability to appeal to a very broad demographics. We've had many conflicts in Grenada, from the Federal Rebellion, Revolution, Caribs Leap, all which make up, raw content for interesting productions, interesting creative outputs. So I think Grenada is not short on talent, and this sector is one that everybody can participate in. It's one that we plan to pump a lot of resources in, and it's one that we want to position as an emerging sector here in Grenada, particularly in the respects of job creation and export earnings.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, let me thank you so very much, Orlando Romain, PRO of the National Democratic Congress and advisor to the Ministry of Planning, Economy and Development with responsibility for ICT, digital economy, and the creative arts. Thank you so very much, and catch up again very soon, where hopefully you'll give us some new updates on this new ministry and what is happening. But see you on Wednesday, I guess.
Thank you, and take care.
All right. Catch up with you on Wednesday at the Town Hall. Okay. Well, before we head over to our next guest from New York, she's the PRO of the NDC Women's Group. We'll just take a short break and get right back to you.
A woman's place was always in the home, while she husband went outside and roamed.
This week, the world observed International Women's Day, which the United Nations celebrated under the theme Digital, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. That theme will be the platform for the NDC New York Chapter Women's Group as they recognize phenomenal women this Sunday, March 12th. Join in on the Zoom platform from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. to hear presentations from Dr. Dessa David and Natifa Lewis. There will be live added entertainment, DJ, steel pan music, songs, and poetry. Recognizing phenomenal women who are championing the advancement of transformative technology and digital education this Sunday via Zoom, a presentation of the NDC New York Chapter Women's Group.
Okay, welcome back to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We again welcome all those who are on WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, and indeed those who are on the Facebook page. And those who are there, please remember to share the live. Okay, so we have online now on Zoom from New York, Ms. Sherry Ann Shelton. She is the PRO of the NDC New York Women's Group. And they're having an interesting event coming up, and we'll invite her, therefore, to tell us all about it and what's happening out in the diaspora. Welcome to Heartbeat, Ms. Shelton. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yes, good afternoon, Terry, and thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone.
Great. Well, I see that you are having a big event, and it is dubbed Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. You want to tell us all about it and what is happening and who are the players involved?
So, yes, Terry. So our event, so just so that you know, our group was just formed via the NDC New York chapter. It's the Women's Group, and it's part of the NDC New York chapter. And we are happy to put on this event because of it's Women History Month, and Women's Day was March 8th. And so this event is all about equality, gender equality for women. And today, guys, at 4:30, from 4:30 to 7:30, we're having this event, and we're going to be featuring women in technology and how we can advance women equality via technology. And the presenters are all women who are in that field, and this is what they do, this is what they know. And we are encouraging everyone to join in, come on and listen. And not only that, we are going to be having some other events. We are going to be recognizing some trailblazers, women, I would say, in Grenada, Grenadian women trailblazers, and particularly in the NDC party. So, and not only that, we're going to be having some fun activities. Orlando talked about, the creative industry, and we're going to be featuring some women, singers, musician in that industry as well.
Great, fantastic. Tell us who are going to be the presenters at this afternoon session?
Yes, so Dr. Dessa David, hold on, let me make sure I get her name right. Dessa David, Dr. Dessa David, and Natifa Lewis.
Okay, so the event is for women only, or just anyone willing to participate?
Actually, no, we're encouraging everyone to come out, women and men. I mean, this is open up to everyone. We are featuring women, but we would like our men to come and support us and support our women. And so it's open to everyone.
Great, fantastic. And you want to share where the location is going to be and what time it's going to start off again?
The good thing about it, this event is online.
Oh,
it's
via
online. Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes, it's online only. It's via Zoom. So we're going to be posting the link for you guys. You can join. It's open to join. And we encourage you to share it with your network. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, where have you. But it's open to all. It's online, and it's from 4:30 to 7:30.
Okay, great. And well, I'm looking forward to find the time in order to link in there and get some great information. Surely this information will be beneficial to women all over the diaspora, locally and internationally.
Exactly. Listen, the vision for the women's group, not just in New York, but in Grenada, is to empower women around, in our country. And we are inviting women to come to join, to join our chapter, and by default, join the women's group, so we can work together in, empowering our women. And not only that, but we also plan on collaborating with the women groups in Grenada as well, and around, the other areas in the diaspora, like Canada, England, etc. So it's not just a New York, thing. We want to make it worldwide. Wherever there are Grenadian, especially Grenadian women, we want to work with them. We want to empower the women in our country and in the diaspora.
Great, fantastic. It sounds as though it's going to be a rather interesting event online, and we certainly would like to share some of what is going to be discussed this afternoon with your session on the Heartbeat, maybe next week or the following week, as soon as we can probably package it together and do a resharing to the Grenadian public and indeed those looking on in the diaspora.
Definitely, and we would love that, because again, we want to get the message out there, and we are part of the agenda in moving Grenada forward, and this event will help do that.
Great. Well, thank you so very much. Let me give you the final say on this before you take off.
Thank you all for joining, and I encourage you guys to log in and check out our event. It starts at 4:30 to 7:30 via Zoom. It's going to be posted on our site. Guys, please follow our new Facebook page at the NDC New York Chapter Women's Group and share it. Please share it with everyone that you know. We encourage you, especially the women, to come in, join our chapter, and also the women's group, because we're here to work together in moving Grenada forward. Thank you. Well,
thank you so very much indeed. Most, appreciate this chit-chat and updating the Grenadian public, and of course, those in the diaspora. This was Sherry Shelton. She's the PRO of the NDC New York Chapter, Women's Chapter Group, and we wish you all the very best and a successful event this afternoon online from 4:30. Thank you again, and hopefully next week you give us an update as to how it went.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you on the Zoom.
Great. Thank you so very much, and we take a short break at this time and get right back to you. Stay tuned.
A woman's place was always in the home, while she husband went outside and roamed.
This week the world observed International Women's Day, which the United Nations celebrated under the theme Digital, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. That theme will be the platform for the NDC New York Chapter Women's Group as they recognize phenomenal women this Sunday, March 12th. Join in on the Zoom platform from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. to hear presentations from Dr. Dessa David and Natifa Lewis. There will be live added entertainment, DJ, steel pan music, songs, and poetry. Recognizing phenomenal women who are championing the advancement of transformative technology and digital education this Sunday via Zoom, a presentation of the NDC New York Chapter Women's Group.
Welcome back to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. What we're going to do right now is to share with you excerpts of a rather interesting constituency town hall meeting, which was held by Representative Jonathan Lecret, Senator Jonathan Lecret. So we'll go to that. And we may have to break it at 1 o'clock, unfortunately, because that's the allotted time which we have. So stay tuned. We now bring to you the Town Hall meeting with Senator Jonathan Lecret.
We are here, and I am grateful for the opportunity just for the next 10 to 15 minutes or so to share some things with you. I want to first of all start off by thanking you for the opportunity to serve you. And I want to make it clear, I am not the member of parliament for St. George Northwest. My good friend is the member of parliament. Yes, I am the caretaker for the National Democratic Congress for St. George Northwest. However, the reason why I'm doing this is because I recognize that in this constituency, there is a need for it. So seeing that no one is taking the lead to get it done, I've decided, you know what? In order for us to erase the line of color that divides us, we must work together. And I feel very strongly about that. Yeah. I feel very strongly about that. So one of the things that I decided to do while brainstorming as to how we can bring the constituency together, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. Apart from all the other 14 constituencies, this constituency in particular that I grew up in, work in, live in for a number of years has been badly divided by color. And that is the truth. You can debate me on it, and I'll debate you till 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Badly divided by color. And the division has been glaring for a number of years to the point where churches were split, homes in disarray because family members not talking to each other, etc. But we are in 2023. In 2023. And I really believe that it is high time we begin to see each other on the same eye level. Whether you're Indian, you're black, you're Portuguese, whatever the case may be, and you're living in the constituency, I believe that there must come a time when we begin to love one another, feel for one another, because this thing is about humanity. And the disparity where hate is concerned and injustice, sometimes when you look at it and you recognize that people have hurt or been hurting so badly for a number of years because I am not in the social construct. I'm trying to be very political and diplomatic tonight because my words will not be taken and beaten. I will not be beaten with my words with many stripes. Yeah, so when you recognize the sort of social construct that exists in various constituencies, it does not serve everybody. It doesn't serve everybody. And the reason why I believe that my presence or my service is so impactful in the community because I have friends here and I have friends here. In fact, I have even more friends here because I've taught all their children. So we've maintained such an excellent relationship over the past 20 years that you do not allow politics to burn bridges. And I believe that with all of my heart. And the love that I have for the people of St. George Northwest, it is what keeps me going. Whether or not you vote for me in 2026 or 2027, I'll still be around doing the same town hall, same community meetings. Because somebody must attempt to bring the people together. And I feel very strongly about that. So at this particular point in time, what I want to do is, for those of you on the live who were not able to make it tonight, and for those of you who are in the audience, thank you very much for coming. I'm just going to do a brief introduction of some people. So I want our community liaison officer to stand. Miss Edwards is right in the audience. You can just stand and just wave your hand. She's our community liaison officer for the constituency of St. George Northwest. So if you see her around going to community centers and talking to the individuals who supervise the cleaning and maintenance of our pastures, etc., she's the one that they have to liaise with on a weekly basis, etc., to get that particular type of job done. We have our seed officer here, our seed officers here tonight, Alicia and Deborah. Just stand and wave your hands so that they can see you. Debs is in the back. She was the one that was handing out the snack boxes a while ago. Our bathroom and toilet brigade leader. He's right here. And just to let you know, thus far, we have built, I believe, at least 5 bathroom and toilets here for 5 people in the constituency. So once they call the office, so I'm going to give you the office number in a while, but once you call the office and you say, you know what, I have some materials, but I don't have anybody to help me build the bathroom and toilet, or I need some materials, and then I also need the skill set to help build the bathroom and toilet, we can definitely try and see how we can get that done for you. The men have been working very hard, and they have done 5 bathroom and toilets thus far. All right. The housing brigade leader, where's Indian? Right, so Indian is the housing brigade leader. If you have a house that is dilapidated and it needs a little bit of fixing, and you want to start building something new, but that's small, etc., and you want the assistance, Indian and his guys are on task, and they will definitely assist with that. And I believe thus far they've completed around 3 or 5 houses thus far. 6. They've completed 6 houses thus far throughout the constituency. I want to give them a round of applause for that. There was a little bit of material shortage a couple of weeks ago, so it kind of slowed them down a bit, but they're trying to work as fast as they can. So when the request, I'm going to do this, Jesus. And they say, Jesus, by biblical law, this woman should be stoned because she was caught in the very act of adultery. The Bible says Jesus stooped down and took his finger and started marking or scribing in the dirt. We did not know what he was writing, but everybody who stood around waiting for a response from Jesus to stone the woman began to just back and disappear. And Jesus said to her, woman, where are thine accusers? She looked around and she said, there's none. And Jesus said to her, go and sin no more. This is my housing coordinator. I don't care what you think about her and what she has done before. That's not my business. We've had an excellent relationship for years. And last week and week before, she in the hot sun, climbing hill, going and check who, calling who. As long as there are individuals who call the office and they need materials, right now we have 23 applications inside, I believe. No, I love her bad because I taught her 2 children. So we have a good relationship. And that's why I said to you, if we have to grow out of the mentality that we have been entrenched in, we have to learn to work together. Receive materials already under the previous administration. But because they figure I knew, I won't know. So they're asking for again. One of the things the community meetings brought out was the need for sporting activities to return to the constituency. And we decided to do an impromptu road relay. Let's see how that worked out. It was really, really awesome. And we were really grateful that even though there were other activities taking place on that very Sunday, national activities that is, that people in the constituency found the time to come out, enjoy a bit of athletics, cheer on their teams from their various communities, and just enjoy a bit of fun afterwards in the pasture and just chill. Yeah, so thank you very much for supporting. We really do appreciate that very much. We had a very successful hamper drive back in December for Christmas. We gave out over 80 food hampers, including some ham, and we decided that we were going to give those hampers out to the elderly, people who don't have children here, but their children are abroad and there's nobody looking after them, and those who are crippled, etc. I asked the community representatives on the council for St. George Northwest to pinpoint at least 10 persons in their communities, especially elderly persons who are in need of those hampers. Well, of course, you know, it have some people, I mean, lack away my hamper, and I mean, they're strong and mighty, but they want hamper and ham. And I think sometimes we have to look after our elder citizens, so we were really happy that we were able to do so. All right. Currently, the previous administration, that's the new National Party administration, and this is not something that I'm ashamed of. I believe that you give Jack his jacket and that you give people their kudos and their flowers when they ought to receive it. So under the previous administration, when we came in, there were a number of roads that were started in the constituency under the previous administration, but were not quite complete. And I want to officially thank the Member of Parliament for St. George Northwest for the roads that were started, because they were critical roads and they were roads that people were clamoring for a very long time. So, sir, thank you for taking the initiative to do such. So one such road is the road at Rose Cottage in Mount Morris. That road over 3 weeks now has been completed, and the residents in that area, they're very happy. The road is, I almost say drivable, but the road is motorable. The road is motorable and residents are extremely happy. Yeah, so I think they deserve a round of applause for that. Yeah. That particular project cost over $600,000. And as simple as you're watching it this, so yeah, over $600,000. The Grand Mall storm drain that was done from the main road to the sea area, that is also complete, cost an average of over $500,000. So Grand Mall residents are happy about that, and we thank the Member of Parliament and his team for the initiative for getting that road done. The Grand Mall Cocoa Road is currently ongoing, from the concrete pavement, culverts and walls that are being erected, and the road habilitation project. So that's continuing in the couple months. I think that the contractor is looking to be complete with that road, and the residents in that particular area should be able to have access with wider road, etc., access to their homes. Yeah.
Welcome back to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. Sorry we had to break this very interesting town hall meeting held by Senator Jonathan Lactresse. We can bring you the rest of it next week. But we want to thank you for joining the Heartbeat today, and do have a great Sunday afternoon. Sorry we have to leave all those of you on WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, and those who listened in and viewed on the NDC Facebook online. So, thank you again, and see you next week. Have a great Sunday afternoon. Goodbye.
A woman's place was always in the home, while she husband went outside and roamed.
This week, the world observed International Women's Day, which the United Nations celebrated under the theme Digital, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. That theme will be the platform for the NDC New York Chapter Women's Group as they recognize phenomenal women this Sunday, March 12th. Join in on the Zoom platform from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. to hear presentations from Dr. Dessa David and Natifa Lewis. There will be live added entertainment, DJ, steel pan music, songs, and poetry. Recognizing phenomenal women who are championing the advancement of transformative technology and digital education this Sunday via Zoom, a presentation of the NDC New York Chapter Women's Group.
'Cause we